GOP candidates faced off on financial and economic issues that are at the top of the mind for American voters at the Fox Business debate last night. I want to bring in the former chief of staff under President Obama and now managing partner at Argentière Capital, Bill Daley. Bill, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Maria. Thanks for having me.
Okay, before we get into some specifics, Bill, I want to get your take on the following response from Senator Marco Rubio. Listen to this exchange, Bill. Senator Rubio. Hillary Clinton is the clear front runner for the Democratic nomination. If she is indeed the nominee, you will be facing a candidate with an impressive resume. She was the First Lady of the United States, a U.S. Senator from New York, and Secretary of State under Barack Obama. She has arguably more experience, certainly more time in government, than almost all of you on stage tonight. Why should the American people trust you to lead this country, even though she has been so much closer to the office?
Well, that's a great question, and let me begin by answering it. Here's the truth. This election is about the future, and the Democratic Party and the political left has no ideas about the future. All their ideas are the same tired ideas of the past. More government, more spending. For every issue before America, their answer is a new tax on someone and a new government program. This nation is going to turn the page, and that's what this election should be about. And as I said at the first debate, if I am our nominee, they will be the party of the past. We will be the party of the 21st century.
Bill Daley joining us right now. Bill, your take on Rubio's response there?
Well, it was pretty predictable. Obviously, he's one of the youngest, if not the youngest person on the stage. He's been trying to contrast himself from all the others. I thought it was a good answer for him. The fact is, but if you look at and listen to a lot of the people on the debate, they talk more about Ronald Reagan, who was president for almost 40 years ago, than they do about the last two Republican presidents and what's happened in the economy during those two presidencies. So I think it's ironic that he keeps talking about the future, but yet most of the Republicans continue to talk about Ronald Reagan.
Well, they were very specific last night in terms of tax policy, in terms of economic policy, a lot more specific than Hillary Clinton has been.
Well, maybe because you haven't been a moderator of a debate with her yet.
Okay, thank you. Well, we'll see about that. I think she should.
Look, I think this campaign, quite frankly, Maria, I think this campaign, obviously with the Republicans in the debate, you've given them an opportunity to be more specific. Some were more specific than others. I watched Huckabee a few minutes ago. I think he has a very creative, different idea, as Senator Brown said. It's really different and creative. And I think there may be some legs to that. Most of the others their whole policy is just cut taxes, and that's the answer, and that's tax reform, and that's a tax plan. It's a piece of a plan, but it's not a total plan. But I think Huckabee is maybe onto something that's really different.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bill, thank you very much for being on, obviously, in your analysis. What do you think it's going to come down to? Do you have any thoughts on actually who's going to be the Republican nominee? And do you think it is Hillary coming out somewhat damaged, but actually coming out? And how does she address the lack of trustworthiness, the fact that whenever you take polling, a liar, not trustworthy? How does she get past all that?
Look, as you know, Senator, polls this early, especially for a general election, the focus right now is on the primaries. I think out of this debate, obviously, there's expected winners of Rubio and Cruz once again seem to differentiate themselves from the other so-called established candidates on the stage. But no one really knows what's going on the ground. These polls and these sort of reactions that we're all doing after these debates, they may or may not have a lot to do with what's actually happening in Iowa. It is a caucus. You must be organized there. You cannot win by just being at 30,000 feet. You have to have an operation on the ground. New Hampshire, as you know better than anyone, is a state that very much takes the opportunity to engage these candidates in town hall meetings, in homes, and that's very important. So what's actually going on the ground in those two early states may not have a lot of relevance to what may be coming out in the spin on these debates. And it is, we've got 3 months to go, so we'll see. But I think there is a differentiation that's going on between some of the candidates, obviously Rubio and Cruz, separating themselves from Bush and Kasich and Rand Paul and Fiorina, and then you've got the Trump-Carson thing sitting there.
Yeah, here's Steve Moore, Bill.
Hi, Bill. I'm a Chicagoan, so it's good to talk to you. I'm going to ask you a question you may not want to answer, but, you know, of all these candidates that were on the stage as a Democrat and someone who obviously has been close to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, which of these do you think stacks up the best? You know, which one are you most afraid of as a Democrat? Who's the best Republican candidate to run?
I think it's hard, quite honestly, right now, Steve. I would say Rubio only because he is that younger candidate. He's still untested. But look, the fact is, in the fall of 16, you're probably going to have 47-47, and we're going to be fighting over 6% of the vote and spending $5 or $10 billion, whatever everyone's talking about. But I think right now, I think you see Rubio with a lot of potential. He is a storyteller. If you listen to him answer the questions, he tells a story in his answer, very different than some of the other candidates. And I think that's attractive to a lot of people. Oh, I'm not endorsing him by anything, but I think his skills are very good. Yeah. Very good.
I agree.
Yeah. Bill, let me get your take on Donald Trump, comparing his and pretty much all of the candidates' tax plans to the ones currently in place. Listen to this.
We all have a different tax plan. Some I don't totally agree with. One thing we understand, each one of those tax plans is better than the mess that we have right now.
Bill, doesn't he have a point? I know you pushed for a lot of changes in the tax code, but I don't know that we were actually able to move the needle.
Well, I don't think we've had obviously a serious tax reform bill for over 30 years. So it's time. But it takes there's going to have to be a lot of compromise. And remember, Paul Ryan, as someone mentioned earlier today, put out a plan and totally got dumped on basically by his colleagues in the Republican Party. You have Dave Camp, who was the former chairman of Ways and Means, put a very comprehensive plan out. Went nowhere, even within the Republican Party. So there's going to have to be a serious coming together. I think Paul Ryan understands that. It obviously will be after the election with whoever the new president is. I think they're all going to have to sit down if we want real, true economic growth. And more importantly, and this is what Rubio did talk about, which I was impressed with. He talked about the new economy that's coming. The change that's going on in our economy with technology is going to have a serious impact on job creation. It's going to have a serious impact on companies and the way we live and the way we work. And I think that is going to have to be seriously looked at for whatever tax reform comes out in the Congress after 17.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen that conversation take place, with the exception of last night, in terms of the new economy.
No, not at all. And I think people keep talking about their tax reform. So many candidates last night. It's only about we're going to lower the rates, and that's going to bring happiness and greatness and make us great again. The other thing I would say, which I noticed with a lot of the candidates, Trump obviously continues to do this, they trash America and where we're at right now. We are the strongest economy in the world. Why are everyone around the world, why are they coming here to invest? Because we have an open system, we have a transparent system, we have a rule of law. The world wants to come to the United States with their money. They want to invest here because there's opportunities here. And this sort of downing of our economy and downing of things is getting a little too carried away, in my opinion. I think we have a great economy. It could be better. But no doubt about it, I think we're in a strong position right now.
Particularly after those jobs numbers in the last month. But, you know, you can't ignore the fact that the manufacturing part of the economy has certainly weakened substantially. You had a complete collapse in commodities prices. It's partly due to China. And a lot of people are expecting a recession in the next year, Bill.
Yeah, I understand that. But it's not because either our tax reform isn't strong enough or we haven't repatriated money. You have a commodity crush around the world. You have slowdown around the world. So our manufacturers are going to slow down because they can't export a lot of their. Take Caterpillar. They can't export what they used to export to China or to other South American countries. They're getting crushed because the economies in the other parts of the world are not doing as well. We're doing better than others. No doubt about it. We could do a lot better, and we have to do a lot better. But I think Bill, this sort of negativity feeds on itself.
Yeah, Bill Daley, great to talk with you. We so appreciate your insights,
Thanks,
Bill.
Maria. Take care.